I'm Brenda. Welcome back to Brenda's Quilt Room. And we're doing our block of the month, and it's now April. And this is the block that I'm going to show you how to do today. It's called the shoe fly block. It's a very old traditional block. It's very easy to do. As I said in the beginning, I didn't want to do anything that's really difficult, and I'm trying to use up a pile of Christmas fabric scraps that I've used for various quilts over the past few years, and so I thought it would be fun to do a quilt along, and you can use what you've got, and I'm using Christmas so that at the end of the year I'll have a nice size Christmas throw for myself. Now I'm only making 2 of each block for the month. But you can make as many as you want to make a project the size that you want. In the last block of the month, the inside square, I mentioned fussy cutting. So I want to take just a minute or two here and explain what fussy cutting is. And that is simply taking a fabric, let's say this snowman fabric, and you want to just pick out this snowman here. Well, the blocks that we're doing are 4.5 inch. Now these rulers, I have a set of 3 of these, and they came from Quilt in a Day. And no, I am not endorsed by Quilt in a Day to advertise their products. But I've been sewing for a really long time, and I bought these a long time ago, and I've used them over the years. And it just makes finding, it has a little X in the middle, and it helps you to just find the center of the block that you want. So if I wanted this little snowman right here, I could use this to visually find where I want my block. I could take a white piece of chalk, or if it's laying flat on my mat, I could go ahead and just trim around that and cut that one fussy cut snowman out of the middle. This set comes with 3 sizes of rulers. It comes with I think that's a 2.5, a 4.5, and this might be a 6.5 inch ruler. So, and you can use any ruler. If you had a large ruler, I happen to also have a set of these little smaller rulers, and they're clear that you can see through, that you could sort of do the same thing. So I just want to show you that there are other options out there for rulers and to find ways to make your fussy cut. So today, what you're going to need to make this shoe fly block, I fussy cut one block that had the candy canes for the middle, which you can see here. And I'm calling that the light blocks. You will need 4 4.5 inch squares of another color to go around the center of your fussy cut or your other 4.5 inch light block. And then we're going to make 4 of these half square triangle units. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You'll need 2 of these. Let me unpin these. You'll need 2 dark colored squares, and I'm using the green as my dark. They are 5 inch squares, and on top of that I'm putting a light fabric. I'm putting them right sides together, and then I'm pinning each corner just to keep it from shifting when we go to the sewing machine and we sew. I've drawn a line down the center diagonally from corner to corner with a pin, and I drew my 1/4 inch line on each side. Now you don't need to do that if you don't want to, but I just did that to show you where I will be sewing. And we will sew this on each side and then cut it apart. And when you cut it apart, you're going to have 2 half square triangle units like this. You will line up your block by putting your 4.5 inch light in the middle, and then put your medium fabric, which for me is my red, around the center square. And after we have our 4 half square triangle units, put the dark to the middle, and we'll have 2 more over here. And it'll be a large 9 patch. And then you will sew each row. You'll sew your 2 ends to the middle and press outward. And then for your center row, you'll stitch these together and put your seam as you press toward the inside so that your seams will nest when you put your block together. So let's go ahead and sew this one. I hope that you're not stressing out over making your blocks. This is meant to be fun and to try to have a little bit of some sewing time for yourself, maybe in the evening or the weekend. We're not going to do anything that's going to be too challenging. You might be new to sewing. This might be a whole new experience for you. And we certainly want you to enjoy it, enjoy the process. Things don't have to be hard for them to come out and be really beautiful. And I love making scrappy quilts and trying to use up. I love new fabric like everybody else, but I try to use up what I have. Okay, now we will cut these apart. I'll just put the ruler on here, and I'm just going to go right down the center and cut those apart. And now we have our other 2 units. Well, they need to be squared up. We'll make sure that they're 4.5 inches. This is something else I wanted to show you, and it also is from Quilt in a Day. And this is how to square up your triangle units. And there are dashed lines on here. This is the half side. The solid lines are for 1 inch, 2 inch, 3, 4, all the way up to 6 inches. And all you have to do to make sure that this is a 4.5 inch square, there's not too much to trim here. And I put the 4.5 inch line on my stitch line, and I'm going to trim just this little tiny bit off. It is really important that your squares are the right size to fit into your block properly. And I'll just press that real easy with my fingernail. And then we'll square up this one. And there's my stitch line. There's hardly anything to cut off, which is kind of nice. What I have found with these blocks is that if you use a very accurate 1/4 inch seam, they come out really nice. So there's the other one. Now I'm just presuming that I have already squared these two up, but we'll just make sure. It kind of looks like they have been. I say that, yeah, okay. So we'll put the block together. If you have a directional, if you have anything in your block that's directional, you want to make sure before you, when you lay it out and you sew it together, that it doesn't look cockeyed because it's going the wrong way. And the dark to the inside. And this one. And then this one. There we go. And now you have just your 9 squares, and you will fold these to the inside, sew your 1/4" seam, press your seams, and then on this one press out, press in, press out, so that when you're finished, then your seams will lay on your block really nice. It really helps in the end if your block lays nice and flat. And so this is going to be the 2 blocks for this month, is going to be the shoe fly. Now, in this half square triangle square up that I bought, like I said, many years ago, it has some wonderful information on the inside. On the back, it gives you different finished sizes depending on what size unit you need. And it tells you what size fabric square you need to start with in order to get your half square triangle units. It's got some very good information in it, and it's been handy over the years. And there are a lot of charts like this. If you look on Pinterest or Google, you know, how many half square triangles can I get out of a 6-inch, square? And depending on what size you need, there are ways to make 8 of these at a time, half square triangle units like this. And I probably, in one of the blocks that we'll be doing, I'll show you how to make multiples of these all at once, so you don't have to have so many sets of squares to make your half square triangle units. And then you will square your block up to your 12 inches, and we'll lay this one out. They've come out very accurate, but like I said, you do have to use a very accurate 1/4" seam. So here's the 2-inch, and there's the 14-inch line right there. So it's really close. Now on some of these, I do want to point out on, okay, this edge right here, if you can see that. So when I go to join this to my sashing strips in between, I'm probably going to lose the tip right there of that corner of the triangle, that little point. But it looks like mostly on all the rest, I've got a good 1/4" seam so that I won't lose my point. I may have to do a little, when I go to sew this side, I may have to just come in and be a little bit shorter on that edge, if that matters to you at all. There's no such thing as a perfect quilt, and finished is better than perfect. And so I hope that you will enjoy making your 2 shoe fly blocks for this month. And until the next month, then we'll see you later. Bye.